All right, so this is pick a card. Hi. Your future descendants. Pick a card 1, 2, or 3, or pick a message 1, 2, or 3. Your future descendants, what do they want to tell you? What's the message for you? Your future descendants. I thought this was a cool topic idea. What do they want you to know? Okay, so future descendants, message number 1. You are very rich or wealthy, or you could be very rich or wealthy. The 10 of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles is possible. Hi, Luann. How are you? Thank you for coming. Work and strategy is sometimes required for both of these things, for wealth and love, for wealth and money, for wealth in all things. Either that or your future descendants want you to know that they become very wealthy. It takes preparation. It takes hard work. It doesn't happen overnight. So maybe generationally your family becomes wealthy in the future, because I see a lot of wealth associated with this. And there is perhaps somebody who is fire sign energy. They don't have to be a fire sign, but they have this archetypal energy who helps manifest this wealth. And the wealth is manifested through narrowing down what's important, narrowing down priorities, how you're going to go about doing it, how you're going to go about getting this wealth. So again, wealth in love, in money. The descendants are saying this is bestowed upon them through their lives. They had wealth handed down to them, or it will be handed down to them. And it was because of somebody's determination, their preparation and planning, you know, the sweat over their brow, planning the details, their hard work. And so the descendants reap the rewards of it. Either that or the descendants are also saying, these things are possible if you do this and this. Things don't always happen overnight. Yes, law of attraction works, but it also requires effort and inspired action. It also requires effort and inspired action, determination, narrowing down what you want, not getting caught up in just staring at all these different options and different things and then getting confused by all the different things, right? 7 has come out 3 times as well. 7, 7, 7. So could be the descendants are telling you something very good, something very abundant will happen within 7 months from now. So watch out for that. Either that or 7 years from now, you're going to reach the height of your wealth, both love-wise, financially, etc. So your descendants, is this months? Okay, so they're talking about 7 months, not 7 years, because as soon as I said, is this months, we got the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles confirming that, talking about the money again, or your wealth could be in love as well. But I feel like this is very money heavy because it's all pentacles. Luann, if you're not having children, that's a good question. It could be your nieces or nephews' children or your cousin's children. Like if a cousin had children, they're still related, or a brother or sister had children, they're still related. It doesn't have to be, of course, certainly if somebody adopted children, of course, that would still be their descendants, because I am a strong supporter of adoption. I don't believe it has to be blood relatives. But yeah, certainly it could be a more distant relative's children. So it could be cousins' children, brother or sister's children, as long as they're related. Because some people, you know, they have a very significant aunt or uncle too, or somebody who just was a mentor. Of course, I say this as the cool, I fit the stereotype of the cool aunt who is a witch, like they have in the movies, you know. That's what I like to think of myself as, but that's actually what I really am to my nieces and nephews. So, you know, it can be different relationships, and you can be like an auntie to your cousin's children too. It doesn't have to be brothers or sisters' children. Like I treat my cousin's children as nieces and a nephew, so they're still related. And when they're much younger, it's more of that relationship anyway than a cousin. So let's just see a little bit more for number 1 so we can stay on track. What do you mean, descendants, for message number 1 about this abundance? Okay, again, abundance. Look at that. More pentacles, Princess of Pentacles. They're saying it's no need to be overburdened. There's no need to carry this weight. The weight, or in the future, the weight of financial burdens will not be carried as much. Recognition from others isn't always necessary to make sound decisions or to become prosperous when it comes to money, when it comes to abundance, when it comes to finance. You just have to know yourself and what's right for you and how to manifest that. You don't have to worry about other people acknowledging. This is not necessary. Acknowledgement from others isn't necessary. You know, in the original Rider-Waite, these cards mean something slightly different, but based on the pictures, I go based on what I see in the pictures. And this looks like recognition for a job well done. You know, see, everybody's watching. Okay. It's not necessary. Recognition is not always necessary. Sometimes doing things quietly behind the scenes will yield more abundance, and abundance will occur a great deal in the future. Abundance will occur as well later on in your lifetime, message number 1. Message number 2. Message number 2. 621. Message number 2. Message number 2 is saying you had a profound effect somehow on their intuition or their ability to tap into intuition or trusting themselves. Some emotional effect is what you had on them. Some emotional effect was passed down to them. Something to trust their intuition, trust themselves, trust their inner voice, and to stop doubting themselves. Five of Wands reverse. This is like the inner critic. It also can be fighting with others, but I like to think that this card refers to the self more, because often when we're getting a tarot reading, the readings refer to ourselves and our own relationship with our soul and with our ego, and the battle between those two, or having them harmoniously interact with one another. As above, so below. So number 2 is quite spiritual, because we have the Magician next to the High Priestess. This is like the, you know, the wizard and the witch, right? So you've got the warlock and the witch, right? The High Priestess and the wizard. You've got them together here. When you have these together, the meaning is almost always spiritual, in my opinion. When you have them separate, sometimes they mean other things. But this is talking about your ability to tap into your intuition, trust yourself. Maybe your descendants also want you to know that you are so wise, wiser than you may realize. There's no need to question yourself as much as you might do that. And this is the thing that you pass down to them in the collective consciousness. Because remember, you don't even always need to say these certain things directly to people for them to absorb it. In Jung's theory of the collective consciousness, our thoughts, our feelings that we put out into the universe are absorbed by others on a far-reaching scale, even across the country, right? Across the world. So imagine how your descendants absorb that. And that's why I was saying they don't have to be like a direct child. They could be a cousin's child, a friend's child that you're very close with. That could even be considered that relationship, like, you know, a mentor or an aunt or uncle, or if they are your own children. You know, there is something about trusting yourself. You should trust yourself more, they say. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop doubting yourself. And see, this is representing them and the influence you have on them. Things can be staying in the state of happiness, of ideals. Not everything in life is ideal or stays ideal, but it can go to this place when you trust yourself, when you believe in yourself. And you, believe it or not, have given that example to them, even though you may not realize it. This is what will be passed down to them. Optimism, again, self-belief. And there's a lot of symbols. You notice, look at these 2 cards have children in them. So I think it's reiterating that this is coming from the descendants, but it's also saying that this energy of childhood is actually what you handed down to them as well. In a sense, trusting your intuition, trusting yourself, trusting your inner voice and your inner knowledge is kind of tapping into that thing that we have in childhood that often goes away when we become adults. People start to doubt themselves more. They start to criticize themselves more as adults, whether unfortunately they were taught that by a toxic parent or mentor, or they were taught that just because some kids in school were mean to them. But this is something we tend to do as we get older, not when we're kids, if you have at least some healthy people around you. That self-doubt comes as you get older. This vibration of believing all is possible, happiness, things coming to full fruition, trusting yourself, that is associated with childhood, actually. And this is actually what they say, that the example that you pass down to them, to trust themselves, sorry about that, somebody's making noise out there, to trust yourself and to believe in yourself. And, you know, as I said, again, ultimately, people tend to, when children are small, whether it's the parent or somebody else, but usually it's the parent, in some shape or form, knock that self-belief out of a child, whether it's by telling them that maybe something is less than realistic that they believe in, or it's being unkind to them somehow. That will affect them psychologically as they grow older. But this descendant is telling you that you actually gave this to them, instilled this into them, that they shouldn't let go of this part of themselves. That's the example you set. So let's go to number 3. 1130 is number 3. Okay. The Hanged Man. Things may seem uncertain in your life right now. They say that don't worry, sometimes uncertainty happens. Part of what your life's journey is that's passed down to your descendants is that life is full of uncertainty. Maybe you had a life that they are going to learn about when they get older, like people will tell them, or that they watched you have. Maybe if they interact with you right now, maybe there's somebody who interacts with you right now who will have children and tell their children about that, you know, their life was always unpredictable. Their life was always up and down. But it was that unpredictability and that thing that couldn't be pinpointed about your life that made it seem more worth living, that inspired others, that you always strived to do more and never gave up, even when things were uncertain. Never gave up, even when things are uncertain, kept an open heart. What you pass down to them and the message they have for you is that they learned to celebrate life, to enjoy life, even if things are uncertain, despite uncertainty. Maybe when you pass away, people will talk about you like they lived an interesting life. They lived an interesting life. They never gave up. And they kept their heart open to new experiences. That's what they learned from your example. They learned that sometimes things are not always explained, and to expect the unexpected. And that things don't always show the full hand of what cards you have in your hand. The full hand is not always shown. And that sometimes you have to take a chance in life. They learn to take chances. Maybe you were a traveler. That has to do with taking chances as well. Maybe you were a traveler who spontaneously went places or changed up your life. Your example taught them to be okay with the unexpected, to be okay with the unknown, to be okay with not having everything figured all out, and resting in that, being okay in that. You lived with passion. You lived with passion. That's what people will say about you. And ultimately, it was living with that passion that led you to your victory. So what they want to tell you is, it's kind of like your energy, you know, when you pass away, you never really fully go away. You're with those that you touched the lives of. whether it's like blood related or not. It doesn't have to be blood related, or it could be a distant relative. It was like an energy of ku sera sera, you know, that song, whatever will be, will be. That's the energy that was left to them. And that's what they've learned through your spirit to live like. And they say that the world in many ways changes into that direction in the future. It goes more in that ku sera sera energy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Latin, I believe. It's definitely not French, because I would say ku sera sera if it was French, but it's not. In many ways, the world is going to be going in that direction of just enjoyment, not flying by the seat of your pants, but living for the moment. More people will get into that vibration more and more in the future because of what they learned from the pandemic this year and going forward into the new earth. And they said in many ways, you were ahead of your time when you lived. And your example was spoken about by people who appreciated you. Those who didn't, you know, maybe they didn't get it because you were ahead of them in spiritual evolution and they didn't get it. But the people who did appreciate you, the people who did talk about you when you passed on to your descendants, they say you gave a lot of people hope and you inspired a lot of people to enjoy every moment and all of those little victories, big or small, that you had in life. Release the trap of self-doubt and feeling like you have to have everything all figured out, they say, because the way you're living now, though you may not feel like it is inspiring, it is. It inspires a lot of people that you may not expect. So that's what I have. I hope you guys like this. This was a little bit of a different type of reading. I don't know. It came out very interestingly. I wanted to do a different topic. Thanks for watching. And thank you for coming, Aries Rainbow Child. I definitely do the travel and experiencing thing, Luann. Yes. Yes. I mean, I think in many ways, it depends on what type of person you are, but certainly if you're watching my channel and you like to do that, traveling is a spiritual thing as well. It's something that changes you and affects how you look at the world. And I think that overall, the spirits that I'm communicating with, the descendants I'm communicating with, want everybody to know that, you know, life can be lived with caution, right? It can be lived with moving slowly, making measured decisions. That's important and well and good. And you can keep everything close to your chest and hold it tight and close to you and make really cautious decisions. But sometimes you've just got to go with the moment, with the passion of the moment, and look forward and not look back. Seize the moment. And if you fail, you can always rewrite a new story. You always have that chance to do that. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys would like your own full moon reading or spell, I do healing, money, protection, and love. You can go to naomitarot.com. I'll be doing them on the full moon, the 29th, around 10, 11 p.m. And they will be given to you on the 30th by 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when they're done. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much, Luann. Appreciate you. I appreciate Aries Rainbow Child and everybody else who watches this now or will watch this. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.